He noticed it because hunger has a way of making eyes louder than words. The 4-star general tried to leave quietly, her posture trained to disappear without a ripple, but the single dad froze when he saw her daughter staring at his plate the way children do when their stomachs have already given up asking. In that small diner, with chipped mugs and a buzzing fluorescent light, the weight of medals, war, pride, and poverty collided in a moment that would change all of them forever. Before the story pulls you deeper, take a second. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and the quiet power of ordinary people, please like this video, comment, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to the channel name. Your support helps stories like this reach hearts that need them. The single dad had learned to eat slowly, not because he enjoyed food anymore, but because slowing down made a small portion last longer. His name was Daniel, though most days no one used it. He was just another tired man in a faded jacket, shoulders permanently curved forward, as if the world had trained him to make himself smaller. Life had done that, piece by piece, ever since his wife died young and left him with a toddler and a silence that never stopped ringing. Years later, his son was old enough to understand struggle but too young to escape it, and Daniel measured his days in bus schedules, overtime shifts, and the constant arithmetic of survival. That evening, Daniel had used the last of his cash to buy one hot meal. Not because it was wise, but because his son had a school exam the next morning and Daniel believed, stubbornly, that a full stomach could still change the future. He told himself he would eat half now and take the rest home in a napkin. He told himself many things to keep going. Across the room, near the door, sat the woman everyone else instinctively noticed without knowing why. She wore civilian clothes, simple and clean, but carried herself like someone who had once commanded rooms without raising her voice. The 4-star general had learned long ago how to move through public spaces unseen, how to fold authority into anonymity. She had earned that skill through decades of service, through decisions that cost lives and saved others, through nights when sleep never came. Her daughter sat beside her, small hands folded, eyes too observant for her age. The general had brought the child on a quiet trip, a rare attempt at normalcy after years of bases, ceremonies, and guarded homes. Tonight was supposed to be simple. A meal. A break. No salutes. No recognition. Just a mother and her child. But simplicity is fragile when the world is uneven. Daniel felt the stare before he understood it. Children do not hide need well. The girl's gaze rested on his plate, not with entitlement, but with a careful, aching focus, as if she were memorizing the shape of food she could not have. Daniel's first instinct was shame. He shifted his plate, angled his body, embarrassed by the attention, embarrassed by his own scarcity. He had nothing extra. Not food. Not money. Not strength. And yet, something old and stubborn stirred in him. The part of him that had once believed being a good man mattered even when no one was watching. The general noticed her daughter's stillness. She followed the line of the child's eyes and saw what she was looking at. In that instant, every rank and ribbon she had ever earned meant nothing. She saw not a stranger, but a mirror of all the families she had written condolence letters to, all the sacrifices that never made the headlines. She reached for her wallet, ready to fix the problem the way power often does. Quietly. Efficiently. Without connection. She stood, intending to leave money on the counter and go. That was when Daniel stood too. Not boldly. Not confidently. Just enough to be seen. He pushed the plate forward on the table between them, hands rough, movements careful, as if the food might break. He did not speak. He did not explain. His face carried the tired dignity of someone who had lost almost everything but refused to lose his humanity. The room seemed to pause, as if even the walls understood the importance of the moment. The general stopped. Truly stopped. Years of command had trained her to assess situations quickly, but this was different. This was not strategy. This was grace offered by someone who could not afford it. She sat back down slowly, the weight of her life settling around her in a new way. She looked at Daniel then, really looked, and saw the cracks beneath his calm. The worn shoes. The careful breathing. The way he glanced toward the door every few seconds, measuring time, responsibility, and worry. They ate together without words, the child's hunger easing, the silence between them filled with something warmer than conversation. Daniel felt lighter and heavier at the same time. Lighter because he had done what felt right. Heavier because tomorrow still waited, unchanged. When the plates were cleared, Daniel prepared to leave, already rehearsing the walk home, the explanation to his son, the quiet apology he would never say out loud. The general rose with him. Outside, the evening air was cool, carrying the distant sound of traffic and lives moving on. She asked his name, not as a superior, but as a person. Daniel told her, unsure why his voice trembled. She listened in a way that made him feel seen, a rare and unsettling sensation. She learned about his job losses, about his son's asthma, about the nights he stayed awake calculating hope like a budget. She did not interrupt. She did not pity. She absorbed his story the way leaders absorb responsibility. In the days that followed, Daniel expected nothing. Life had trained him not to hope. But hope arrived anyway, quietly, disguised as opportunity. A call came about a job he had applied for months ago and forgotten. A community program reached out with support he did not know existed. None of it felt miraculous on its own, but together, they shifted the ground beneath his feet. He later learned, through a chain of gratitude and astonishment, who the woman truly was. Not just a mother. Not just a stranger. But a 4-star general who had seen something in him worth honoring. For the general, the encounter lingered too. She had commanded troops and shaped policy, but Daniel's silent generosity haunted her more than any battlefield memory. She spoke of it in private meetings, not as a lesson in charity, but as a reminder of humility. She understood, more clearly than ever, that leadership was not about rank, but about recognizing the quiet courage that holds the world together. Time passed. Daniel's life did not become perfect, but it became possible. His son grew stronger, laughed louder, dreamed bigger. Daniel learned to stand straighter, not because life got easier, but because he remembered who he was in that diner. A man who chose kindness even when it cost him. Near the end of this story, if it has reached something tender inside you, please take a moment to like this video, share it, and subscribe to channel name. Your engagement helps keep stories of humanity alive in a world that desperately needs them. And before we close, I have one special request. Please comment below and tell us what kindness means to you, or a moment when a small act changed your life. Your words may become someone else's hope. The 4-star general and the single dad never became close friends. They did not need to. Their lives touched at exactly the right moment, long enough to remind each other of something essential. Power does not always sit at the top. Sometimes it stands quietly beside a chipped table, offering half a meal to a hungry child, and in doing so, reshapes destinies without ever asking for credit.